The West Philippine Sea, a vital waterway for global trade connecting East Asia with Southeast Asia and beyond. Beneath its waves lie vast reserves of oil and natural gas. Its rich fishing grounds sustain livelihoods across the region. But this sea of abundance is also a sea of tension, caught in the crosshairs of a geopolitical rivalry between China and the Philippines. For the Philippines, the West Philippine Sea is an integral part of its national territory and heritage. It falls within the country's 200 nautical mile exclusive economic zone, as defined by the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea. However, China's sweeping claims over the South China Sea, which encompasses the West Philippine Sea, have cast a long shadow over the region. China's claim to the West Philippine Sea is rooted in its historical narrative. Beijing points to centuries-old maps and documents as evidence of its ancient maritime presence and control over the area. They argue that Chinese fishermen have been fishing in these waters for generations. The Philippines contests this historical narrative. Manila argues that China's historical claims lack a solid legal basis and are inconsistent with international law, particularly UNCLOS. They point out that the 9-dash line, which China uses to demarcate its claims, has no basis in any internationally recognized treaty or agreement. The Philippines asserts its own historical and legal claims to the West Philippine Sea, particularly the Spratly Islands. Manila argues that these islands are geographically closer to the Philippines and fall within its EEZ. China's construction of artificial islands and military installations in the disputed waters have raised alarm bells in the region and beyond. Faced with China's growing assertiveness, the Philippines took a bold step in 2013. It filed a historic case against China at the Permanent Court of Arbitration in The Hague. The Philippines sought a legal ruling on the validity of China's 9-dash line claim and its activities in the West Philippine Sea. This move marked a pivotal moment in the South China Sea dispute. By bringing the case to the PCA, the Philippines aimed to peacefully resolve the dispute through a rules-based approach. The Philippines argued that China's 9-dash line claim violated UNCLOS provisions on maritime zones. China, however, refused to participate in the arbitration proceedings, arguing that the PCA lacked jurisdiction over the case. Despite China's non-participation, the PCA proceeded with the case, emphasizing its impartiality and commitment to upholding international law. In July 2016, the PCA issued a landmark ruling in favor of the Philippines. The tribunal found that China's 9-dash line claim had no legal basis under international law, and that it had violated the Philippines' sovereign rights in its EEZ. The ruling was a resounding victory for the Philippines and a significant setback for China's maritime ambitions. The PCA's ruling sent shockwaves through the region and beyond. It was a resounding affirmation of international law and the importance of a rules-based order. However, China immediately rejected the ruling, calling it null and void. Beijing reiterated its stance that the PCA had no jurisdiction over the matter and refused to recognize the tribunal's decision. Despite China's rejection of the ruling, the Philippines hailed it as a victory for peace and a triumph of international law. Manila called on China to respect the ruling and to abide by its obligations under UNCLOS. China Sea. The West Philippine Sea dispute is a microcosm of the challenges facing the global commons in the 21st century. As competition for resources intensifies and geopolitical rivalries escalate, the international community must find ways to manage these shared spaces peacefully and sustainably. The PCA ruling in the South China Sea case serves as a precedent for resolving maritime disputes through legal means. It highlights the importance of international law, particularly UNCLOS, as the foundation for a rules-based order at sea. The ruling also underscores the need for dialogue, cooperation, and respect for the rights and interests of all states. The Philippines, despite its victory at the PCA, faces an ongoing challenge in asserting its sovereign rights in the West Philippine Sea. China's continued assertiveness underscores the complexity of the dispute and the need for a multifaceted approach to resolving it. The future of the West Philippine Sea, and indeed the global commons, depends on the willingness of states to uphold international law and find peaceful solutions to their differences.